All right. So the next speaker is Stefan Craß. Stefan Craß. Apologies. He is a senior researcher and area manager at Austrian Blockchain Center.
Hello.
Stefan. Yes.
Thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks.
Do you need to upload the presentation?
I'll try to share my screen if that's okay. Just need to figure out. So.
Yeah, here you go. It is on
yeah,
stage.
okay. So looks good, I think.
All right. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to speak here at the Ukraine DLT Forum. And yeah, I want to present some blockchain perspectives coming from Austria, from the Austrian Blockchain Center. And yeah, just short introduction who we are, who is like the Austrian Blockchain Center. We are a research center for blockchain and related technologies that exists since 2019. We are an independent research center, but we are closely working together with a lot of national and international research centers, and our focus is on application-oriented research. So we are dealing with real problems coming from our company partners. And another thing that is special about us is we are interdisciplinary research center, so we're not only focusing on the technical part, but we also have an economic area. Yeah, we try a bit to bridge the gap on the one hand side with academia, on the other hand with industry. So on the left, we have here the universities that are mostly doing some basic research. On the right, we have the actual industry and economy challenges, and we want to be in the middle and trying to do applied research, which means on the one hand, we have doing scientific research, papers, and so on. We are doing concepts for our customers, prototyping, but we also are involved with education and networking activities. So our mission basically is to advance research into and application of blockchain and related technologies across all industries and also government institutions. So maybe I can tell you a bit about what are our focus areas, because this is also matching with the areas where we are currently seeing opportunities in the blockchain world. I mean, there's always ups and downs, and we see some topics coming up and then disappearing again. But these are the topics which we have seen in the past few years that where the most interest arises. And on the one hand side, it's digital assets. I mean, that's the main topic currently, as we have all seen with the new all-time highs of Bitcoin and the adoption, the mainstream adoption of payment solutions based on cryptocurrencies. So here the keywords are like decentralized finance, DeFi, stable coins, payment solutions, but also for to analyze all these movements on the markets, you also need to use data science to perform market analytics. So these are topics that we are involved with. I cannot tell you too much about it because this is more coming from the economic branch, but I'm just mentioning it right here. Then another topic where we have seen a lot of interest is token economic systems. So everything related to tokens, mostly fungible tokens. So we have tokenization, for example, of real estate, tokenization of raw materials, so where you can invest into some assets, can be physical assets or virtual assets, and then you get tokens for that. So you basically can invest in a flexible way. Energy is also something you can invest in. There are energy communities formed that are using blockchain technology, for example. And last but not least, also we see an interest in so-called purpose-driven tokens or incentivization schemes where you give away tokens as a reward for some beneficial behavior of users, for example, like if you're recycling your plastic bottles or if you're performing some citizen science tasks. So these are all things that could be rewarded with tokens and that can be redeemed in various ways. So we are quite flexible with token economic systems. Another topic is supply chain management. There was a bit of a hype there a few years ago. This has slowed down a bit, but we still see a constant interest in solutions focusing on the one hand side, tracking and tracing of products across the supply chains, integrity of data, for example, some sensor data or supply chain related documents like invoices, for example. All these things can be secured on a blockchain. Also, emissions trading is a hot topic, like CO2 emissions, for example, that could be traded on a blockchain. So this is the third area that we are focusing on. And then besides these three research areas, we also have outreach activities that we are pursuing, like blockchain events, regular conferences, and teaching activities, both in person and online. And also community building here in Austria, but also internationally. So I try to give a few practical examples so you can get a feeling of which kind of research we are doing. First, let's start with supply chain management. Here we are looking into traceability of goods and business processes. Basically, the classical example, you see something like that. In this figure, there's like a production process where you produce some assets, like some goods, like a bottle with a drink, for example, and you can identify this product using a unique ID, like a QR code, and then you put the information about this product on a blockchain. You write when it was created. Every time it will be further processed. You have either somebody with a mobile app that scans the code and adds like a step, like for example, that the product was delivered, or you have some automatic processes like sensors that write information, for example, about the temperature during the transport. And you can also correlate it with some additional information, for example, on the factory, on the producer, like for an auditor, for example, can certify that the producer fulfills certain criteria, and then every time you check the product, you can also see that the product was produced at a specific time, it was delivered at a specific time, but also that the producer has certain certifications, so you get a complete picture of what's happening on the blockchain. Yeah, to summarize, like what are the use cases that we see? Tracking and tracing, I already mentioned. You can document every process step there, and smart contracts can be used then to detect automatically inconsistencies in this data set. And this transparency of having the blockchain as a database allows you to have like extensive data analysis, not only of your own product production steps, but like across the whole supply chain. Also, it's useful for recalls of product to identify where they're coming from, and also audits and so on. Everything is getting more, like it's getting easier using blockchain technology, and you can enable kind of a provable due diligence. So, for example, to show that you're fulfilling some obligations regarding the environmental footprint or human rights. But yeah, you can basically use it for everything where you need transparency on the supply chain. Smart contracts also enable you to enforce contractual terms automatically, for example, to calculate price based on dynamic rules, to check if some acceptance criteria is met, and then if this is the case, that you can automatically pay on delivery the agreed upon price, and these things don't require manual intervention. You just have a smart contract and everything can be done automatically as long as you have valid data sources where this information is coming from. You could also have tamper-proof quality seals or certificates of origin. So similar to this tracking and tracing use case, you can basically see where it's coming from if you give like the end consumer an app that can be used to scan the code, and where the consumer can then check that it's authentic or not forged, for example. And finally, you can also integrate the consumer into the supply chain using this kind of apps, and give him some tasks like collecting some information from him, or to ensure that the bottle is recycled properly, and then you can hand out crypto tokens as a reward mechanism that can be, for example, redeemed again for vouchers for your product. So yeah, more concretely, we're working currently on a project that's called Passat. It's like about digital product passports, and basically the idea is that basically you can store valuable information about a specific product. This is required by the EU in the upcoming years. So for different product groups like textile, electronics, and so on, this is already coming in the next few years, but over time it will also involve other product groups, and then every product needs a digital product passport. This can be useful information on the one hand side for consumers, but also for repairers or recycling companies and so on. Here, blockchain can be used to secure the information. I mean, you can, even if you don't store the information directly on a blockchain, maybe you don't want 100% transparency, you want to have your secrets basically, but you still can put a digital fingerprint of the DPP on a blockchain, basically put the hash value on the blockchain, called the data anchoring, and that prevents that it is manipulated. So if there's some problem with a product and you want to ensure that the information about this is authentic, you can just look into the blockchain. You can be sure that there was no cover up by the manufacturer, for example. Yeah, another thing that we are researching that's related to blockchain, but also can be used independent from it, is something called zero knowledge proof. That's an advanced cryptographic technique. I mean, you can imagine it's something that, like, if you use like a hash value to secure like a document, the zero knowledge proof can be used to secure like an arbitrary computation. So basically what you can do is to use a zero knowledge proof to prove specific claims that are derived from data that you do not want to disclose. So for example, in the context of a digital product passport, you can say, yes, my product is made of at least 50% wood or any other material, but I don't want to reveal the exact composition that is stored and audited safely in my database. I just verify that, yeah, it's at least 50% wood, and that's all what I want to disclose. And if you're interested in more details about zero knowledge proof, we have an event in a few weeks. You can find the code on the right, and you would be happy to invite you there. Yeah, just a few examples still regarding the digital product passport. What kind of applications are possible, like especially with the zero knowledge proof and like the data anchoring. First, you can prove that the product is authentic, it's not manipulated, it's not forged, that it has, for example, ethically sourced raw materials, it has like a specific carbon footprint that's compliant with the regulations, it's using recycled parts, it's without disclosing which parts it are, and it is compliant with certain regulations, it has like a specific lifetime status, like the duration, how long it was used, and so on, and it's coming from some specific region without disclosing the factory, for example. So these are all things that could be implemented using our approach. So that's one topic, supply chain management. A topic that's related to that is IoT. So basically also here we have, like, for example, a sensor network where we want to protect the data and want to prevent that somebody is manipulating it. Like example, for if there's like an accident in a factory and you want to be sure that all the data that you have for investigation is correct and not manipulated, then you can use that to basically ensure every time the data is written somewhere, the hash value, the fingerprint of this data is written to a distributed ledger. We've also developed some energy efficient data anchoring mechanism for that. Basically, we have like the sensors, they send data to an edge device. the edge device then aggregates the data and sends it to a cloud, but at the same time it anchors the data, it writes the hash values to a distributed ledger, and then later, if you want to validate the data, you can get the data and the proof from the cloud, and then check the proof on the ledger. So basically, this has to match, and if it does, then you know the data is authentic. Here we use like some end-to-end integrity. So basically, even if the edge device is hacked, still they cannot manipulate the data because the sensors are signing this data, and we have developed an energy efficient mechanism to do that. So in the end, the blockchain provides an undisputable proof of existence of the sensor data that has not been manipulated. Going to token economic systems, we have worked in a project that's called YOMA. And basically the idea here was to empower marginalized youth in Africa. So this is a platform that was initiated by UNICEF. And there basically they provide different environmental and social impact challenges, which means tasks, as well as education offers that is targeted at young Africans, and this aims to create an environmental and social impact, basically. The challenge here was to ask ourselves the question, how can we reward participants for kind of these micro tasks that are maybe worth a few dollars or maybe less, but we don't want to use banking infrastructure for that. That's too much effort. So we used a token-based approach that automatically distributes the rewards, and we also have a pragmatic approach of how the users can use this reward, because in the end they want to buy some goods with that, but not all the goods are available in exchange for crypto. So we find a way to exchange the cryptocurrency, the tokens, into something that's readily usable, like vouchers for an online shop, for example. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can see here in detail, but the idea is that we have like some app here where you can redeem tokens. On the left-hand side, you see you can connect your wallet with it, and then you basically can select from a voucher store which kind of voucher you want, like from Amazon or whatever. And then you need to sign a transaction. We programmed it in a way that the user do not have to pay the transaction fees for that. These are covered by the system. And then you get an encrypted voucher. Why is it encrypted? Because as we know, everything on a blockchain is transparent for everybody. So to prevent that anybody else is reading these vouchers and using them, it's encrypted with the key of the targeted user. So only the targeted user can read it. They can use the wallet to decrypt it, and then they can use it and go to some online shop like SureGift in these examples, and then they can use the voucher. And this is one way how to use a token economic system for public good, for example. Last but not least, there's also research that we're doing in the area of blockchain analytics. Here we are focusing on Ethereum smart contracts. So the question here is, there's a lot of smart contracts, basically hundreds of thousands or even millions, and you need to look into them and see like which of these smart contracts have which function. If you want to do some analytics, or if you just interested in what are the most popular types of smart contracts on the chain. The problem here is this information is not really available in human readable form. They are stored on the blockchain, these smart contracts, but they are in machine code, in so-called EVM bytecode. Sometimes it happens that, or often that developers share the code off-chain. They put it on some platform, and then you can verify that the code is really the one on the blockchain. But even then, it's challenging to have this large-scale classification, just because there are so many of these smart contracts available, and they are quite different and have different focus. What is our approach? We index the whole blockchain history for all smart contract deployments. Then we try to identify certain bits of the smart contract code, so-called function signatures. That is just 4 bytes of information, and basically try to look up these function signatures in a database where we know that we have like known signatures for corresponding functions. And then we can say, okay, this function has this name and this parameter types. And if we know the combination of which functions are available, we can classify these smart contracts. For example, you can say, is it an ERC20 token or like an NFT? And this is relatively easy because these have always the same functions. So we have like around 100% accuracy. But on the other hand, we also try to have some more generic classifications. So, for example, to say this is a DeFi smart contract or this is a governance smart contract. And here we are currently reaching around 90% accuracy, but we try to improve also that. So these are different fields where we think that are all relevant today. And just to round it up with some education activities, that's also a project that we just finished, where we basically built up together with some partners from Europe, an education hub called Blockchain ED Hub that covers free online content for adult learners. Especially if you're a beginner in the blockchain space, this might be a good way to start and have like a curated selection of courses and videos to start your blockchain journey. And to link everything back to the topic of the conference, like how can these kind of ideas help maybe Ukraine to rebuild? And I think blockchain can be used to rebuild infrastructure or like economy with trust, because that's what blockchain is standing for, to have like a trustful environment. And going back to the 4 categories I mentioned regarding digital assets, I think it's very useful to make use of secure and flexible financial instruments like DeFi, like stable coins. This can be used as a backbone of a new economy, I think. Token economic systems can be useful for 2 different reasons. First, they could be used to incentivize voluntary work to rebuild the country with token-based rewards that can be flexibly designed, similar to what I mentioned in the Yoma project. And they could also be used for token-based crowd financing and crowdfunding, where you basically sell tokens with new business ideas and basically collect investments to get your new business started. Regarding supply chain management, I think now is also the chance to digitalize the economy using secure blockchain-based supply chain solutions. And this can also increase the trust and simplify the compliance of these upcoming EU regulations. And I think that's also a good opportunity to integrate blockchain into your supply chains, even if you don't want to basically redesign everything. And yeah, last but not least, regarding different outreach activities, it's, I think, a good idea for sure to build up Web3 knowledge using, for example, some online materials, as I showed before, in order to be ready for the Internet of the future, because as we, I think, all believe, like that blockchain and Web3 will play an important role in that. It's not only AI. And last but not least, yeah, it's always a good idea to form local crypto communities. We see it here in Austria, but I think also in Ukraine with Max and his team. There's a lot of effort going on, and these crypto communities can help to connect the developers, connect with the entrepreneurs and other experts, and to build up a thriving Web3 ecosystem. So that was it from my side. I'm happy to take any questions. If you're interested in the blockchain talk I mentioned before, feel free to register for free at the code I just provided to you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to any input.
That is wonderful and insightful presentation. Thank you so much. You covered the question I wanted to ask. So what do you think would be the priority use cases for Ukraine? I wanted to ask, maybe, we are conducting the research which we will be presenting tomorrow very briefly. The ZK use cases, right? What do you think would be the how to say this, the top priority and the the necessary layers for implementation for all the rest to work, right? And if you represent a research center, so maybe you have some statistic data, what could be the anticipated results of certain implementations or all implementations in the industry for the, let's say, average country in Europe, so which Ukraine probably will belong, this category which Ukraine probably belongs to, in Eastern Europe, some Central Europe.
I mean, regarding the last question, I'm not sure if we really have any data, like how this affects like different countries, or like how it could affect Ukraine. We see there, it's more like anecdotal proof, like that we see, okay, some topics like the three that we mentioned, we see there are companies that are interested in that, and then we see there are solutions being rolled out, but we cannot say, okay, this will be 100% effective, or this is the best for Ukraine. So this will, basically we need to see and figure it out. I mean, one safe bet is at the moment, at least, like the financial sector, when there's like, we see like a big rise in institutional adoptions and so on. When it comes to like this application solutions, let's say it's a bit difficult, because it's they're not all questions solved yet. Like it's a bit of a question of interoperability, of user adoption and the user experience. And yeah, I think it's there still needs to be a lot of work to be done. I think it's a good way to innovate in this field, and to figure out when that you can build the next big thing. And then coming back to the first question with zero knowledge proofs, there are, I think, useful applications for that, but also here we're still in the beginning. So what we are thinking at the moment is that in this digital product passport and supply chain field, this could be something very useful, but also in regard to digital identity. Like if you want to prove your identity, you want to prove that you're over 18 years old, for example, but you don't want to give more data, this could also be very useful. The problem with zero knowledge proofs until recently was that they're very expensive computationally, especially in regard combination with smart contracts or blockchain, but it's getting better. There's a lot of cryptographic advancements there. So we think, in this like personal identity, supply chain, these fields, it could be relevant. Everything that's related to data protection, basically, even if it's GDPR, or if it's like trade secrets that you want to hide, then it can be useful if you want to have like this compromise between transparency and privacy.
Thank you so much. Very good answer. Let's give like a minute or two for audience to ask the following questions, and if not, we are a little bit already behind the schedule. So the next speaker. And we will thank you for the contact information. I believe that people will be able to follow up with questions, and we also will be able to reach out. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.